Kingdom team, all call time. This is the question and answer segment of the broadcast where we take a look at some of the questions you have sent us over at kingdomreportlive.com. If you have a question for the team, just head on over to the website and put it into the box that you see that says, got a question for the Kingdom team? Just click on that box and let us know what's on your mind. We try and get to as many as possible. We definitely try to answer as many as we can on the broadcast itself, make them into a segment. This week, we do have a question from Joel King, and Joel asks, do you think we are about to enter a new Disney decade at Disney World now that the company is relocating 2,000 employees from California to Florida? This is something that Joel is mentioning because in recent news headlines, Disney announced that they are relocating over 2,000 Disney parks, experiences, and products employees from California to their new campus in Lake Nona in Florida. This is something that I think surprised a lot of people, certainly, because why are they uprooting 2,000 people to go across the country? No doubt this is a business move. No doubt this is something for the sake of trying to relocate folks for the sake of cost out to Florida. I think, interestingly enough, in this question, citing the Disney decade, for those that don't know, by the way, and we'll fill you in on that, Disney decade being one of those things in Disney history where the 1990s were considered the Disney decade, where Michael Eisner and the company were firing on all cylinders, and creatively at all stages, from your consumer products to your animation to your live action to your theme parks, everything was hitting on such a high level and things were being produced at such a high level that they were booming. Right? The Disney company was booming. They hit a new sort of gold rush era, and Walt Disney World, we witnessed, kind of exploded in growth, and so many more things were added to Walt Disney World in Orlando. So this question being about whether or not this relocation of 2,000 employees from California out to Florida might be a nod in that direction of whether or not the company is about to invest all over again out in Florida, I think is a good question, because why else would they uproot this outside of cost cutting for the sake of operating in the state of California, which unfortunately has become a very expensive state to function in. A lot of businesses have uprooted here and left and gone to places like Texas. They've gone to places like Florida. They've gone to other states, Arizona, for example, that have far less in terms of tax costs and production costs. And so they've gone to other places to conduct their business. And no doubt this is a shot across the bow, probably at our state government, for the sake of it's expensive to do work here, and so that's why they're primarily uprooting people to go across. But the business segment of who these cast members are, being parks, consumer products, and experiences, going out to Florida, does raise that question, I think, Sabina, of is there about to be a whole new investment in Florida? Is there about to be a whole new investment in the growth of Walt Disney World into the near future? I have to say, from my perspective, I feel like, as much as I want to say yes, I don't really feel like that's the priority of the incoming CEO, Bob Chapek.
I would have to agree with you. There is a lot happening right now. And Bob is handling it the way Bob Chapek handles things. So, with everything that's gone down, honestly, there's been a lot of questions about, will remote work become a more common thing? Will all these folks actually have to move over there? Earlier in the show, we were talking about housing, and if there is availability for folks to move out there feasibly. So there's a lot of stuff up in the air about it. And while we could, hope that it could be a new Disney decade, I think we won't know until like a year or two from now, when everything really shakes out, I think, is when we'll have a better idea of the effects of some of these choices of the Disney streaming service and the effect on movie theaters. We just lost all the Disney stores for the most part and are trying to pivot to online shopping, which I personally, I like being in a store and being surrounded by things to pick. So I'm not a fan of some of those choices. So I think, I don't see the Disney decade being based off some of the things that have made the consumers unhappy in recent times. Sure. So when things shake out, I think we might see leadership sort of maybe change again.
A departure of Bob Chapek, perhaps.
Maybe.
Yeah, very quickly we might see. But yeah, definitely one of those. Definitely one of those moves that raises a lot of questions. It's like, is this purely a political stunt to try and again, a shot across the bow at basically the state of California, saying like it's too costly to operate here, to uproot 2,000 people. Those are families. Those are people that have lives here. Then send them out to Florida. Is it a political stunt, or is it truly because there's about to be a major investment out east? I would hope, for the sake of Disney loving fans everywhere, and we might learn at the Destination D23 this November, as it's happening in Florida, we might learn at that event that maybe they do have some really big projects on the line that we just aren't privy to yet. I just don't get the feeling like that's going to happen, especially since they did most recently, in terms of parks and resorts announcements. They went on this big binge about Disneyland Forward and the whole increasing square footage here at the original Magic Kingdom, and growing things out on the West Coast was kind of the priority, it seemed like, next. So this move just seems so bizarre. So bizarre. If it's truly just a political move, it seems a little short-sighted. But Garrett, let's jump out to you in Walt Disney World over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. You're there. You've seen the Lake Nona campus. You've been there, right? You've been around the area. So you know that the market out there, everybody's moving to Florida for the most part at the moment anyway, and the housing market is on fire. There's very few places to even live. But what's your take? Are we about to see a Disney decade?
I think right now it's too early to call for a brand new Disney decade, just because I think it's too early to call. But the direction I think that Disney's going in is that corporate structure and corporate HQ will happen at Burbank still. I think that the parks will be pretty much run from Walt Disney World, because you can put Imagineers out here. There's a ton more land out here than there is in California, because in California, land is so, first of all, Florida, you got to dig up a bunch of swamp and you've got, 1,000 acres and you're good to go. So I could see them, moving a lot of Imagineering and a lot of park specific events out here to where Walt Disney World is the icon of theme parks around the world. We're going to do operations here. I would hope that, they would still have some stuff going on at Disneyland, but too early for a Disney decade. Maybe after we see a new CEO come in place. I don't think Chapek will be there in the long run. Perhaps a man by the name of Josh. Maybe he will step in, and when he ascends the throne, we will see a new Disney decade. But it's not going to be quite like, Eisner's or Iger's. Like Iger, he did so much. He acquired every intellectual property known to man, pretty much, except for Harry Potter. But too early for a Disney decade, but I'm excited to see what happens. But welcome to Florida, everyone. It's hot in the summertime. There are gators and a lot of mosquitoes. And the summer's miserable. We got 2 summers, hurricane and summer.
That's right.
Welcome to Florida.
Yeah.
We got orange juice.
Well, at least there's that. Yeah. And orange bird. Well, buddy, we appreciate you weighing in on that topic. Let us know in the comment section, are you somebody who feels as though this move is purely political on Disney's part, or are they just trying to make a statement for the sake of moving and cost-cutting? Or is there more to this? Do you think we are on the cusp of a Disney decade, as Joel says there? We'd love to know your perspective. As always, leave it in the comment section, and we try and respond to as many people as possible.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.